Hi everyone, today we'll be making a Shintaro Midorima guide. I've been grinding Shintaro Midorima in the ranks since season 1 and I've reached a Generation of Miracles rank because of him. Please check out my current proficiency. Let's go to his awakenings first. If you are on a budget, I recommend you go as low as Awakening 1. However, if you have some more Awakening shards or budget to spend, please go up to Awakening 4. This will be a little bit controversial, but I will tell you Awakening 2 is useless. I don't use any pendulum skills for Shintaro Midorima at all. I will explain more on that later. For Awakening 3, just basically extra energy for you every time you make a 3. Awakening 5 is your late game scaling because it increases your 3-point range more. And for Awakening 6 is this very complicated skill where when you ult, you pass, and then afterwards you get an enhanced sprint boost where you can move around the court in hopes that your teammate will pass the ball back to you when you get open and then shoot a 3 points. However, there's a lot of variables in those combinations of events that you don't control, so it's not nearly really that necessary for now. But for me, the sweet spot is at Awakening 4. Basically, with this, Shintaro Midorima isn't just a great scorer, a great passer. He is also a very useful character on the defensive with his blocks. When you time it correctly, you get this animation where you jump higher. And let's go for his talent progressions. I recommend you max everything in your ultimate first if you can. I've used my 50% discount on this row because he is my first character. What's important is this one, no taboos. This basically means that in any of your dribbling moves, driving, any offense, essentially you can interrupt the animation for your ultimate. Did you know that Shintaro Midorima has a step back 3-pointer? You basically need to use the violent dribble and then in the middle of the animation where you are furthest from your opponent, you interrupt it with your ultimate. Basically, a step back. And in the corner of the court, as I will be showing maybe later or next time, the separation is very significant. For our row 1, I want you to max invest only up until this step forward jumper. It's called that, but I call it sidestep because it's that. A sidestep. You can get this too, but continuous bow is not useful for now. For row 2, I want you to invest up to movement prep. Basically, you can be moving around and then holding the catch and shoot button, and then when your teammate passes to you, you automatically shoot it. This is one very useful, let's just say his bread and butter, one of his bread and butter. I don't like to do any unnecessary drives, and if I'm open, I just like to hold the catch and shoot button and basically let it go. Row 3, don't invest anything. It's quite controversial, but for me, I don't like to force shots with Midorima. I also don't like to mix his 3-point with his mid-range. What I like to do instead is play Midorima solely as a 3-pointer, and then if I can't get open, I simply pass. In my blue ability traits, I am going for steady pass, where it increases my passing rate so that the passing trajectory is less, let's just say less contested. So if you want to follow my build, don't add anything in row 3. Row 4, max everything. Sidestep SWAT, basically with your Awakening 4. That's why I wanted the Awakening 4, because with this row max, you basically now become a defender, great defender, blocker, and a secondary scorer for your team. For priority, max everything at row 5 first, your ultimate, row 1, row 2, and then row 4. Okay, so as Shintaro Midorima, our core philosophy for this character is basically solely as a 3-pointer and as a passer. I don't do none of that mid-range pendulum stuff, because basically I treat Shintaro Midorima as a secondary scorer and not as the primary one. Why is this? Because when you compare this character to Aomini Daiki and base Kise, the two could consistently, the keyword there is consistently, score 2-pointers than Shintaro Midorima. That's why you just want to be passing to these characters. And those characters are like forwards, right? And we are a guard, shooting guard. And when you pass and you want to score, you basically just hold the catch and shoot. As most of the time, I only do this when I'm open. But most of the time, what I'll be doing is this one, just to check if they react accordingly, or if they get ankle broken, I just basically rise up to shoot. Just press the J button. The problem with that sometimes is with the ping, and if the ping is really high, I just keep on passing and then waiting for my ultimate. And when I get my ultimate, here, let me show you the step back 3-pointer. So basically, you do a violent dribble and in the middle of the animation, you interrupt the animation with your ultimate. Basically, it's a step back because it separates you and your opponent. And if you do it here in this corner, you basically create more significant separation between you and your defender. Let me just see. And most of the point guards, what they'll be doing is that they'll be anticipating your dribble spot, violent dribble. So they'll be waiting at this end point and then steal the ball. However, they don't know that this is a very significant separation already, and that they can contest this shot. So yeah, just keep passing. Pass to your teammates, pass. And if you get open, you rise up for the shot. Okay, let me also give you some tips on the sidestep. So here's the sidestep. But basically what you should be doing is you should be shimmying on one side and then doing the sidestep on the other. So what I'll be doing is that I'll be shimmying on the right side and then sidestepping to my left. Check this out. You see, my head is turned to the right, and this works for to the disadvantage of point guards, because point guards have really high run speed. Of course, the worst matchup for Shintaro Midorima are like Kuroko, Akashi, SP Akashi, because they have high run speed. But if they also have a very fast reaction, they'll react to your shimmy, and then you easily score to the side. And then it becomes a guessing game for them. So yes, I guess that's for our Midorima.